Quilters Newsletter TV, the Quilters community, is brought to you by Handy Quilter, designed by a quilter for quilters. Robert Kaufman Fabrics, quality fabrics for quilting. Sulky, express yourself with Sulky and create with confidence. And The Warm Company, inspiring products for creative people. Hi, and welcome to Quilters Newsletter TV, the Quilters community. I'm Mary Kate Carr-Petras, and I'm back again with Patrick Lose, who is our special guest for this 12-part series. And today we're going to be talking about Patrick's work as a fabric designer, which is one of his many hats. And you've been designing now for how many years?
20.
Wow.
I can't even believe it. I don't know where it went, but 20 years. Yeah.
That's a lot of lines, a lot of collections.
It's a lot of lines. I couldn't even honestly tell you. I'm not good at archiving either. I don't have like little snips of everything that I ever did, but I kind of wish I did, but then it also is kind of daunting when you look at it and think how long that's been.
That's a lot of collections. It would take up a lot of room.
Yeah, but it's been a lot of fun,
That's great. Well, how did you get started in designing fabric?
I actually was designing patterns, and I was designing patterns for Indigo Junction, and they brought my patterns to market, and a fabric company decided that I should be designing fabric and asked if I would be interested, and of course I was. So right from the very beginning of my work in the quilting industry, I started as a fabric designer.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you bring some samples to show us?
I did. I wanted to show you. I'm with Robert Kaufman now, and one of the reasons that I wanted to design for them was that they do some yarn-dyed fabrics, which is something that I've always wanted to do and didn't really have the opportunity. So this was the very first collection that I did for them. Kona Color Works is what it's called, and it's just, you know, a collection of yarn dyes. I love doing, you know, the holiday colors, and you know, this allows me to, in my pattern lines and in my designing of quilts and patterns, to do different looks that I wouldn't normally do with some of the other fabrics that I've designed.
These are gorgeous. I'll need about 3 yards of each of these.
Well,
please.
that one's been discontinued.
Well,
we're coming up with a new one. Yeah, yeah. And then this was the first. I'm more known for print fabrics, not the yarn dyes, and actually more for conversational and novelty type groups. But when I started working with Robert Kaufman, it was the blenders and the basics that sort of took off. So my and some people don't understand this, but the line of basics and blenders that I have with Robert Kaufman is called Mix Masters. And Mix Masters is just like the umbrella name for the entire collection. And then each of those lines, like this one is called Satinesque. There was a Scribbles. You know, they're all under that Mix Masters umbrella.
Right, okay. Well, you can use these in so many applications. I mean, we've seen quilts here that people who use your lines, and like for instance for a Christmas quilt, you know, and these aren't necessarily holiday fabrics, but you can use them in so many different ways.
Right, because you can blend them in. That one was called Dot to Dot. This is Fizz. Fizz has been hugely popular, and we're actually adding new colors to both Dot to Dot and Fizz. Those are coming soon. I think we'll have about 40 colors in each of those collections.
So how do you get inspired? How do you get started?
You know, a lot of times it's just doodling. Until I designed for Robert Kaufman, I never really did any designing on the computer. Most of what I did was very organic. I'd start with a sketch pad and just do some doodling. Now I might take those doodles and scan them and bring them into the computer and work in either Illustrator or Photoshop. But before it was just a completely organic and basic process where I would do sketches and then paintings, and somebody else would always put them into repeat, though I never had to do my own repeats. You know, that's where you take the design and make it repeat over and over on yard goods.
So that it blends
nicely. Surface design. And I'm glad that I never had to worry about that technical aspect of it, because it kept me able to just keep painting and drawing and, you know, creating new lines. So.
And then you submit that design, and then how do you go about, you know, picking the shades, picking all the different colors for it?
You know, that's sort of gotten to be, there's almost a template for it now, because there's so many of my colors that are well known, and, you know, cross lines, and people want the same, you know, if I do.
So you have like a signature. Sort of.
Sort of. You know, if I do this line's called Luminescence, and so say this blue would also appear in my other lines, you know, with different names or different prints.
And is that something that you developed over the years, or are they your favorite colors?
Honestly, they pretty much are like favorite colors to work with. You can see, like in this is Monochromatics, this is a more recent group, and you can see the spectrum there, and that's what I really try to do, is have a spectrum, a full spectrum, so that people can pick and choose and make sure that they have something from every, you know, color family. And then if the group is successful, and here's one that's become wildly successful right out the gate. This is called Fresco, and I'm kind of known for designing marbled fabrics, and this is another textural marble that I call Fresco. And it was very easy to just come up with a palette for that because Robert Kaufman gave me so much freedom to do that. So I just started throwing more colors at them, and they had some ideas, and it just grew from there. And honestly, Fresco started out with 60 colors, I believe, and we're now adding another 34, I think. So the line just keeps getting bigger and bigger because it's been successful, and quilters want it. So,
right.
So this is part of the process is what we call strike-off. So I'll pitch you know, some new colors or whatever, and they strike them off on small samples so that we can actually see how that color looks then on fabric. So what you're seeing here is a color copy because the piece of fabric that comes in is very small, so
That's literally the piece of fabric you get to look at.
This is what I get, yes.
Okay.
This is all I get to proof the color. And honestly, this is probably the second or third proof. So, you know, there were you know, some problem colors, things that didn't work so well.
Colors.
Yeah, you know, when maybe, say in this particular print, there wasn't enough differentiation between the lighter screens and the darker screens. So we had to play with that tonality to get it to work and have some depth and texture.
So all of these are different colors that go into making this
Exactly. Each one of these
look.
is a different screen. So as that's printed, each one of these colors is laid down, lightest to darkest, and that's what creates the print.
So even for something like a marbled thing, I didn't even know that was that intricate a process.
It really is.
It
It's almost more intricate on something like that because it has to blend and flow smoothly over the yard goods. You don't want to roll out your yard goods and look at it and say, here's that same repeat over and over. You want it to look very, you don't want it to be easy to tell where that repeat begins and
There's
ends.
nowhere to hide.
Yeah, there really isn't. So that's some of the colors in that. Then we're also adding colors now to existing collections, dot to dot. I think I said that before. And dot to dot's been very popular. It's really what dot to dot is a dot that sort of fades in and out. You can kind of see on this one that we've actually changed some of the colors to make it do it even differently. But let me find a good example. Here in this Wisteria is the name of this color. And you can see how some dots are darker than others, and the background is also marbled. So it's almost creating movement in the fabric because they fade in and out on that background. And then we do, you know, some that are multicolored also.
So
That's
how
very
close
disco.
to the final, very disco, how close to the final iteration are these?
These are probably, actually it says right on there, first strike-off.
Okay.
So there was a lot of correction, and I can see on this one I would not have approved either of these. I don't.
What's the matter with them? They look fine to me.
Well,
But
just
I don't even know what I'm looking for.
if you look at this green dot, do you see that sort of halo around it? There's an
do.
outline to that dot. That shouldn't be there. That's where the screens are not working. It's creating an outline around that dot that I don't want. I'd rather, this one works very well. I see that fading in and out. I see the textural background. This color is something that people wouldn't know about me, but I love the neutral colors. I work so much with bright colors during the day, and when I go home, like my own home is in more earthy, neutral.
Calming.
Yeah, it is, because, and I love playing with the brights, but you know, it's just something different for everybody. I don't always like every color that I create, but I know there's a use for them, so I have to, you know. This is Fizz, some of the new colors coming. Fizz, we started out, the idea behind Fizz was that it was sort of soda fountain colors. So like this one's called Berry, there's Root Beer, there's different, you know, names that look like they could be put on a soda fountain menu. But then we started getting so many colors that we couldn't do that because there was nothing to, we ended up with one color of green that's called Veggie, and all I could think of a veggie drink, you know.
You know, but like you said, even with colors, there are people who like veggie drinks.
That's, yeah, exactly.
You never know.
So those are some of the colors in Fizz. And then I wanted to show you too, this is the first time I'm showing these to anybody. This is my newest collection. This one is called Sunstreaks. And you may know that this has already been a collection. I did it with Timeless Treasures when I worked with them for 13 years. We did it twice. We did it in a very large print and then scaled it down a little bit, but you know, it ran its course, and fabric lines get discontinued and sometimes resurrected, and I've actually resurrected several fabric lines, and I'm proud of the fact that I've been able to do that because it means that they've got some staying power.
That's no small thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
And even the marbles that I originally designed are still in print 20 years later. And so I'm really happy about that, and I'm happy that I can bring Sunstreaks back again. This one kind of looks very earthy to me also, you know, almost like the Sunstreaks paintings. You can lay things on fabric out in the sun and it bleaches.
Yes,
you know, and that's kind of what I was going for. Yeah. So
without all the work entailed.
Exactly. Yeah. And not having to worry about things like repeat and all that. You know, so these, I actually, to bring this line out again, have reduced it even further. So this is a smaller reincarnation of that same line.
So how many shades or how many colors are going to be in that?
I don't know yet.
Are all of these, do you think, or some of these
I believe all of
cut?
these are. This is the last. These were, yes, third strike-off. So we actually approved these 3 times, you know, got them to, it took 3 times to get them to where we wanted them. And so there probably will be about this many colors, and I think there's probably 35 to start maybe.
To start,
yeah.
And then more to come.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully.
So again, this keeps you pretty busy.
Very busy.
And
yeah.
it seems like
but
it's something you
busy.
really enjoy.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
Live for it.
Well, I really appreciate this because we get to see, you know, gray goods that come through the office and samples from manufacturers, but after they've been through this whole process. So it's very interesting for me to see just the technical aspects of everything that goes into
it's a fascinating process. I don't
producing
even know
the fabric that we love and that
we,
you know, get so excited about when we see it at market or when we see it in the stores or online. So, and I hope that you've enjoyed this as much as I have. If you want to see any other episodes of Quilters Newsletter TV, please visit us at quiltersnewsletter.com. And we will see you next time. Quilters Newsletter TV, the quilters community, is brought to you by Handy Quilter, designed by a quilter for quilters. Robert Kaufman Fabrics, quality fabrics for quilting. Sulky, express yourself with Sulky and create with confidence. And The Warm Company, inspiring products for creative people.